Mark Carney didn't expect this. With just 3 days left before the trade deadline, the United States delivered a brutal economic blow, a sudden, sweeping 50% tariff on Canadian aluminum exports. The shockwaves. Immediate. Markets trembled. Industry leaders went silent. And the Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, was forced into emergency talks overnight. It all started with a warning. For weeks, Washington had threatened retaliation if Canada refused to drop its controversial digital services tax, a tax that targeted U.S. tech giants profiting from Canadian consumers. Carney stood firm until Trump slammed the hammer down. And just like that, Carney's vision of a strong, independent economic future shattered. What's worse? He didn't see it coming. Officials close to the PM say he believed a deal was hours away, but Trump was playing a different game. Canadian exporters scrambled. Overnight, aluminum shipments bound for the U.S. were either rerouted to Europe or left stranded at ports. Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec, all regions with massive stakes in the aluminum and steel sectors, started bracing for layoffs. In a surprise move, Mark Carney appeared on live television just hours after the tariff hit. His tone? Serious. His message? Urgent. He admitted that trade talks were in an intense and unstable phase, and for the first time since taking office, his composure slipped. The Prime Minister looked shaken. But for many, it was too late. The damage was already done. Major producers like Alouette and Rio Tinto signaled massive disruptions in output. Investment portfolios nosedived. Economists began whispering a word Canadians haven't heard in over a decade: recession. And in Parliament, the wolves smelled blood. Pierre Poilievre launched a furious attack, accusing Carney of being asleep at the wheel while American interests walked all over Canadian sovereignty. Others weren't so kind. Members of Carney's own party began questioning his judgment behind closed doors. A whisper campaign of doubt is reportedly spreading fast. On the ground, the fear is real. Aluminum workers say they're afraid of job losses. Small business owners dependent on exports are already seeing supply contracts vanish. And consumers? Brace yourself. Price hikes are coming, from beer cans to construction materials. In a last-ditch effort, Carney placed a direct call to President Trump and requested a 7-day suspension of tariffs. But sources in Washington say Trump won't budge. He's betting Carney will cave, and some insiders say he might. Meanwhile, the PM is pivoting fast. Carney has rushed to Europe, seeking to deepen Canada's trade partnerships with the EU in a desperate move to offset American hostility. But experts warn, Europe can't absorb Canadian aluminum at the scale the US did. Not even close. And here's the quiet part nobody's saying out loud: if these tariffs stay in place, even for 90 days, Canada could lose billions in GDP, thousands of jobs, and fall into a downturn that hits every sector. This isn't just a trade war. This is an economic ambush. The question now isn't whether Mark Carney will recover, it's whether Canada can. And with just hours left before the next phase of US sanctions kicks in, one thing is certain: this is the greatest test of Carney's leadership yet. If you want the real story behind the headlines, no fluff, no filters, hit that subscribe button. We break it down daily right here on Maple Flash. Canada's drama doesn't stop, and neither do we.